let's talk about a feeling I think we all know. That little voice in the back of your head that says if you're not constantly achieving, you're falling behind. Well, today we're going to pull that idea apart because it turns out those quiet moments, they might just be the most important ones of all.
So, does this sound familiar? You blink and poof, another month is just gone. You had all these plans, all these goals, right? But the calendar page flipped and now you're just kind of standing there wondering, wait, where did all that time go?
And isn't that just when it hits you? Late at night, you're scrolling on your phone, and that little question just sneaks in. What did I actually get done? And suddenly you're looking back at a month that feels like a blank space, where all your big plans were supposed to be.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is. That wasted month feeling. And look, the very first thing you need to get is that if you feel this way, you are so not alone. This isn't some personal failure, it's a feeling a lot of us are dealing with.
It's this quiet, nagging disappointment, isn't it? This feeling that everyone else is on a fast track and you're just stuck. But here's the thing, and it's so important. Feeling this way doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human.
So where does all this pressure even come from? Well, it's baked into what we could call the productivity machine myth. This unspoken rule that we have to be constantly grinding, constantly leveling up, constantly performing.
And this is where our culture just clashes with our biology. The myth tells us we're supposed to be machines, but the reality is we're organisms. We need seasons of rest. The myth says life should look like a stock chart, always going up and to the right. But reality, it's much more like a story, with a natural rhythm, ebbs and flows. And that last one is huge. Culture tells us being on all the time is a good thing, but our nervous system hears that and thinks danger. And of course, one of the biggest culprits here is the internet's highlight reel. It's a nonstop feed of other people's promotions, their transformations, their big wins. It creates this total illusion that everyone else's life is this constant series of amazing achievements, when really, most of life is just keeping things going.
And look, this isn't just some nice philosophical idea. This is biology. There are real physical reasons why this productivity myth is actually damaging. We just aren't built for it.
So our bodies have this built-in alarm system called high alert mode. You've probably heard of it as fight or flight. It's powered by stress hormones like cortisol, and it's super useful if you need to, run from a tiger or hit a crazy deadline. But here's the catch. It was only ever meant to be temporary. It's a survival tool, not a way to live. When we try to live with that alarm bell ringing 24/7, the price is steep. The science on this is crystal clear. Chronic stress from being in hustle mode all the time just wrecks our physical health. It messes with our immune system, our sleep. It leads straight to burnout. It's a pace we literally can't sustain.
Let that one sink in. Survival mode is not a lifestyle. It's an emergency brake, and so many of us are trying to drive with it pulled up all the time.
Okay, so if doing everything is the problem, what's the answer? Well, this brings us to the power of doing, nothing. We need to start seeing these quiet periods not as wasted time, but as something essential, something deeply productive in its own way.
Think of it like this. Some months aren't for putting things out into the world. They're for taking things in. You're absorbing, you're reading, you're listening, you're just paying attention. It's the quiet intake that has to happen before any creative output.
And then, some months are just for recovery. Maybe you just finished a huge project, or went through something tough personally, or you're just plain exhausted from modern life. Recovery isn't being lazy, it's essential maintenance for the machine.
And some months are for stabilizing, for just holding it all together, when things feel like they could fly apart. This is the invisible work, but it's some of the most important work we do. Just keeping the ship from sinking takes a ton of energy.
And this is true, right? Our best ideas almost never show up on schedule. Your subconscious mind does its most brilliant work when you give it space. It's why that amazing breakthrough happens when you're on a long walk, or in the shower, or just staring out a window. Those unproductive moments are actually where the magic is.
So all of this brings us to a much better way to think about our lives. Let's call it the idea of life's quiet chapters.
What if we just threw out that whole idea that your life is a business report, that it has to show constant growth? Instead, what if you thought of your life as a story?
Because what do all good stories have? They have quiet chapters, those moments of reflection, of rest, the character development that happens between the big dramatic scenes. Without those quiet parts, a story is just a bunch of noise. They're what give it meaning. And this is what that quiet progress really looks like. It's not the sexy, Instagrammable stuff. It's getting through a hard week. It's showing up for the people you love. It's keeping the house from falling into chaos. And sometimes, honestly, the biggest win is just enduring a tough time without falling apart. Just staying afloat. That is not standing still. That is a huge victory.
This is so important to hear, so let's just say it plainly. The version of you that needs to rest is just as valuable as the version of you that achieves big things. It's not a lesser you, it's an equally necessary you. So, I want to leave you with a different question to ask yourself. Instead of what did I accomplish this month, try asking this, gently, what was this month actually asking of me? Not what the world demanded, but what did your body, your mind, and your life truly need? The answer to that question? Well, it might just change everything.